Was this weird parenting?
Television thrives on charm, on the illusion that every conversation flows, every laugh is natural, and every guest delighted to be there. But behind the polished glow of the Graham Norton show lies a quieter truth. Not every guest wants to play along. Some push back, some freeze, some test the very rhythm that makes Norton one of the great conversational conductors of modern television.
While he was down there, I said, excuse me, oh, by the way.
Across hundreds of episodes, Norton has handled chaos with grace. Yet a handful of encounters left a mark, moments he later hinted at, laughed about cautiously, or let the silence speak for him. Here are the 7 guests who challenged Graham Norton the most. Number 1. Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg's appearance on Graham's sofa quickly became a lesson in controlled chaos. Arriving in an impulsive, unpredictable mood, he interrupted stories, leaned across guests, and pushed Norton into rare defensive hosting. It was funny, tense, and deeply unbalanced. An encounter that revealed how fragile the show's rhythm becomes when one guest tilts the entire room. From the moment he settled in, Wahlberg's energy raced ahead of the conversation. His interruptions were playful but disruptive, breaking the show's usual flow and forcing Norton into subtle corrective work. The host, known for effortless transitions, suddenly tightened his pacing, steering discussions back on track each time Wahlberg jumped in unexpectedly.
Nurse your own wounds?
Norton later referenced nights like this, saying some guests arrive with a rhythm completely different from the one the room depends on, a diplomatic way to acknowledge the strain. Other guests sensed it too, exchanging quick, amused glances as Wahlberg's enthusiasm carried him into moments not meant for him. Even so, Norton never let the episode unravel. He redistributed attention, softened Wahlberg's interruptions with light humor, and carefully rebalanced the group dynamic. His calm made the chaos entertaining, rather than uncomfortable.
What are you watching? Why would you allow people to drink alcohol and come on a show?
Reflecting on challenging interviews more generally, Norton once remarked that hosting sometimes feels like guiding a wave instead of leading a conversation, a line that suits this night perfectly. Wahlberg meant no harm, but he revealed just how much finesse it takes to keep the iconic red sofa steady. Number 2. Madonna. Madonna's visit carried the aura of an icon and the chill of someone determined to stay guarded. Every question felt like a negotiation, every joke a test of patience. Norton remained gracious, but the effort behind his smile was unmistakable. It became one of those interviews where charm alone could not melt the ice between host and guest. From the first exchange, Madonna's answers were clipped and deliberate, revealing little emotion beyond practiced composure. Norton softened his tone, trying to build momentum, yet each attempt met a careful pause before she offered another precise reply. The energy never turned hostile, but it settled into a polite distance neither could fully close.
I loved her rawness, and there was something fresh about her and ballsy, and when she spoke to the audience.
Norton later hinted at guests like this, saying some arrive with a shield you notice long before they speak, an acknowledgement of how fame can harden even the warmest personalities. The other guests tread lightly, unsure how playful they could be without complicating the room's delicate balance. Still, Norton found small cracks of levity, moments when Madonna briefly relaxed, smiled, or allowed a hint of spontaneity to slip through. Those flashes reminded viewers that beneath the guarded exterior remained the performer who once embraced unpredictability.
Well, I just spent the last 3 years making a film.
Speaking more broadly about difficult interviews, Norton remarked that some conversations feel like warming a room with a single candle, a line that fits this encounter perfectly. Madonna did not stir conflict. She simply stayed in a world of her own, and Norton had to work carefully to meet her there. Number 3. Miriam Margolyes. Miriam Margolyes brings electricity to every interview, and sometimes it shocks the room. During one especially notorious appearance, her wild storytelling veered into territory that left guests stunned and Norton theatrically speechless. He admires her immensely, yet even affection cannot prevent the occasional on-air detonation that disrupts the show's careful rhythm and sends the sofa spinning. Margolyes arrived that night with her trademark unpredictability, cheerful, yet armed with stories that could detour any conversation. Within minutes, she launched into an outrageous anecdote, leaving guests caught between laughter and disbelief. Norton attempted a gentle redirect, but Margolyes powered ahead, delighted by the chaos unfolding around her.
I started to cream in my knickers. I could feel it.
Norton once described her presence by saying she has a directness that reaches the room before she does, a line that captures both her charm and her shock factor. Her honesty is beloved by audiences, though it can send the show spinning faster than expected. As her story intensified, Norton's exaggerated reactions became part of the comedy. Wide eyes, defensive laughter, an eventual surrender as Margolies delivered each unexpected detail. The tension dissolved into easy laughter as guests realized they were witnessing a moment impossible to control.
Did you think that was a good film?
I can't possibly say no.
Reflecting on unpredictable interviews, Norton once said some guests feel like holding a sparkler you cannot put down, an image that suits her perfectly. Margolies is not disruptive by intention, she is simply fearless, and that fearlessness turns every appearance into a memorable burst of chaos. Number 4. Dominic West. Dominic West's time on the sofa carried an undercurrent of tension. When Norton touched on past cast dynamics, West shut the conversation down with an edge that instantly shifted the room's atmosphere. Norton recovered elegantly, but the abruptness lingered, creating a rare moment when the show's usual flow faltered beneath a guest's guarded resistance. West arrived courteous, yet noticeably reserved, answering with a kind of caution that suggested certain areas were firmly off-limits. When Norton gently brought up a moment from West's work on The Wire, hoping for a light story, the actor responded with a clipped dismissal that chilled the room just enough for everyone to feel it.
Just get a load of kids in there, and it settles the spirit.
Norton later spoke more broadly about encounters like this, saying some guests come with lines you do not see until you accidentally cross them, a thoughtful acknowledgement of how unpredictable interviews can be. The other guests sensed the shift immediately and attempted to soften the silence with small laughs and polite nods. To steady the show, Norton pivoted with practiced ease. He shifted to neutral topics, lightened his tone, and offered West space to relax without revisiting sensitive ground. The room slowly found its footing again, though the earlier tension remained faintly present.
Special day. Well, Ollie, I hope you've learned something this evening.
Reflecting on difficult moments, Norton once remarked that hosting sometimes means navigating boundaries no one warns you about, a line perfectly suited to this encounter. West was not confrontational, just defensive, but that defensiveness reshaped the room more than he likely intended. Number 5. Harvey Weinstein. Years before his public downfall, Harvey Weinstein's appearance already radiated discomfort. He was domineering, dismissive, and visibly uninterested in sharing space with others. Norton navigated the interview with professionalism, but the imbalance was unmistakable. It became one of those rare episodes where the unease only made perfect sense in hindsight, once the fuller story emerged. From the moment Weinstein sat down, his presence dominated the atmosphere. He interrupted freely, steered conversations toward himself, and offered curt, transactional responses that stripped the room of its usual warmth. The contrast between his demeanor and the show's trademark ease was impossible to ignore.
You know, somebody vote for David or Olivia, you know what I mean? But you can...
Especially if we're not nominated.
Years later, Norton alluded to interviews where the energy tells you everything words don't, a carefully phrased acknowledgement that some guests simply disrupt the room by being in it. Watching the episode now, that energy is unmistakable. Tight laughter, hesitant smiles, and an unspoken effort to keep things civil. Norton responded with steady control. He redirected attention to other guests, shortened Weinstein's opportunities to dominate, and used humor as a shield to prevent the conversation from collapsing. His restraint kept the segment from turning openly sour, even as the discomfort lingered beneath every exchange.
Just tell me.
Yeah.
Whatever,
Yeah.
It's all right to tell Harvey, isn't it?
Yes, tell Harvey.
Tell me the endings of every episode.
Speaking more generally, Norton once said some interviews feel like guiding the room away from the wrong center, a sentiment that fits this moment precisely. What felt uneasy then reads unmistakably now, a tension waiting to be understood. Number 6. Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro's reserved presence created a challenge unlike any other. Polite yet distant, he offered few openings, leaving Norton to coax conversation from near silence. The audience saw a master host sculpting energy from fragments. De Niro's reluctance was not hostility, but it transformed the interview into a delicate balancing act of patience and precision. From the outset, De Niro's answers arrived in short, almost whispered increments. His quietness forced Norton to stretch each thread of conversation, shaping moments from subtle reactions rather than clear cues. Where other guests bring spontaneous energy, De Niro brought stillness, a quality that can be cinematic on screen, but difficult in a live, fast-moving talk setting.
One of the few times I would ever say maybe no.
Norton later reflected more broadly on interviews like this, saying some guests communicate with expressions rather than words, leaving you to find the rhythm yourself. That was evident throughout the segment. Norton leaning in slightly, adding warmth and humor to fill the spaces De Niro left untouched. Other guests tried quietly to spark the conversation, offering light jokes or prompts, but De Niro remained composed, revealing little beyond a polite smile. Norton adjusted instinctively, slowing his pacing, allowing silence to settle without panic, guiding the room gently back into comfort.
If you weren't on this show, would you ever see it?
This show I'd watch.
Good answer!
Speaking more generally, Norton once remarked that some interviews feel like sculpting air until it becomes something, a description perfectly suited to this encounter. De Niro was not difficult, just minimal, and minimalism, on that sofa, becomes a masterclass in hosting. Number 7. Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish's early appearance was marked by visible nerves and brief replies, the weight of sudden fame hanging over every moment. Norton softened his tone, adjusted his pacing, and gently carried the conversation forward. Though not contentious, the fragility of the exchange left an imprint, one that showed how even kindness cannot fully steady an anxious guest. Eilish arrived thoughtful but noticeably overwhelmed, offering answers that felt more like quiet notes than full responses. Norton recognized it immediately and shifted his approach, giving her extra time, avoiding abrupt transitions, and framing questions in a way that eased pressure rather than applied it. Even so, the tension of new fame surfaced in every pause.
Yeah, girl. I mean, listen, it's been 3 years.
Reflecting on moments like this, Norton once said some interviews involve meeting someone where they are, not where the show usually sits, a reminder that empathy can reshape an entire segment. The other guests helped by offering gentle humor, lightening the mood, without forcing Eilish into conversations she was not ready to lead. Gradually, she loosened, smiling more, leaning forward, even joking softly. Yet the vulnerability remained, a reminder of how sudden global attention can make even the brightest talent feel unsteady.
I just think I'm mainly happy about it. I think, like, I grew up listening to so much different kind of music.
Speaking broadly, Norton remarked that certain interviews reveal how fragile early fame can look up close, a sentiment that echoes through this appearance. Eilish was not difficult, just young, overwhelmed, and human. And Norton treated that humanity with remarkable care. In the end, these moments from Graham Norton's red sofa remind us that conversation is never just conversation. It is chemistry, timing, vulnerability, and the invisible currents that pass between people who may have only met minutes before the cameras roll. Some guests arrive open and generous, others guarded, unpredictable, or carrying storms no one else can see. Norton's brilliance lies in navigating all of it, reshaping tension into humor, discomfort into warmth, and silence into something nearly cinematic. These 7 encounters reveal something larger than awkward interviews. They show how fragile connection can be, even in a room built for laughter. And they show how much humanity sits beneath fame's polished surface. Share your thoughts below, let us know which moment surprised you most, and subscribe for more stories that look beyond the spotlight.